Collective nouns are fascinating little words that help us describe groups of people or things in a concise way. Think about it. Instead of saying a group of musicians, we can simply say band. It's efficient and adds a bit of flair to our language. Let's dive into some examples. A team refers to a group of players working together, like a football team. You might say, "Oh, the whole team is really excited to meet you." Here, we treat team as a singular noun, which is standard in US English. It emphasizes the group as a single entity. Now, consider a herd of elephants. You would say, the herd is migrating south for the winter. Again, we treat herd as singular. But what about a flock of birds? You might hear, a flock of geese is flying overhead. It's the same rule, singular in form, singular in usage. But collective nouns can also be a bit tricky. In UK English, they might treat these nouns differently. For instance, if they want to emphasize the individual members of a group, they might say, the team are celebrating their victory. Here, team is treated as plural because the focus is on the individual players. In contrast, in US English, we'd stick with the team is celebrating. Let's explore some more examples. A class of students might be studying for an exam. You'd say the class is preparing for their final. But if you were in the UK, you could say the class are discussing their projects, emphasizing the students as individuals. Another example is a crew. You might say the crew is working hard to finish the project. But if you were to highlight the individual contributions, you might say the crew are each responsible for different tasks. And what about audience? In the US, you'd say the audience is captivated by the performance. In the UK, you might hear the audience are applauding enthusiastically, focusing on the individual members clapping. Now, let's not forget about proper nouns. Names of specific groups like the Beatles are treated as plural. You'd say, the Beatles are one of the most influential bands in history. Here, the focus is on the individual members of the band, so we use the plural form. Identifying collective nouns is pretty straightforward. Look for words that indicate a group, team, flock, herd, class, crew, and more. They often describe groups of animals, people, or things. Remember, the context will guide whether you treat them as singular or plural. In summary, collective nouns are a unique aspect of English that can add depth to your writing and speaking. They allow us to convey complex ideas simply and effectively. So the next time you're describing a group, think about the collective noun you can use. It might just make your sentence pop.